Wait. Hi, Daniel. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. I'm Ming Chang, and I am currently working on a leadership project for my leadership class. The goal for this interview is to explore how leadership traits are applied in a real life situation, especially in sports and coaching. And now, can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your background in swimming?
Yes, my name is Daniel Cannon. I am the lead coach of the Olympic Weight Gold program at Olympian Swimming in Vancouver, BC, and the assistant head coach, one of the assistant head coaches at Burnaby Mountain Mantis.
Okay, great. What does leadership mean to you in a coaching role?
Leadership to me means about being an inspiration for the younger generation of swimmers and coaches, having the swimmers look up to you and come to you for feedback and advice so that they can progress through swimming, and coaches coming to you when they need advice and support, or they just need to help in figuring out a problem with their swimmers.
Great. Okay, since we have changed together in the past before, and you are now a swimming coach, and I thought you would be a great person to talk to about leadership, and I would love to hear about your experience and how you transition from being an athlete to a coach, and what leadership lesson you have learned along the way. This interview will be take around 30 minutes, and we will cover topics like motivation, communication, decision making, and leadership challenge. Feel free to share any experience or insight you think are relevant. And first, I will ask about some question about the leadership traits in coaching. And can you describe leadership traits that you rely on the most as a coach?
For me, I rely a lot on my confidence and my open mindedness to be able to help my swimmers progress through their practices and to keep improving on, and the open mindedness to take feedback and criticism from more senior coaches within the club, and to also help me progress as a coach and help my swimmers reach their goals and potential.
Great. And how do you motivate young swimmers who struggle with self-confidence or performance?
For me, I usually like to discuss with them like what is happening, why are they feeling this type of way. Usually, they feel pressure from their parents at home, or maybe they see that their peers and teammates are improving at a much faster rate than what they are, so they feel discouraged and unmotivated to work hard in practice. But I usually just try to remind them that everybody's path in swimming isn't the same. Like some people are going to improve faster than others, but at the same time, as long as you know that you're putting in the work and you're having fun with the sport and enjoying every single time that you get on the blocks to race, eventually the results will show for themselves, and you will see results that you are happy with.
And what challenges have you faced as a leader, and how did you handle them?
For me, I've had to deal with a lot of, especially coaching little kids, a lot of laziness or like lack of effort. But I usually try to remind the kids that like, hey guys, like we're here, you're here now. Just go one practice at a time. Like don't look at the whole practice. Go one step of the practice at a time, and it'll make it a lot easier. Take it into smaller bites, instead of one whole big bite, and that'll make it easier on themselves, and it usually does work. Or if they start fooling around, I'm like, hey guys, come on, we have a little bit left of practice to go, let's try to remain focused. Like just treating them like not as little kids, but as more like responsible, with a little bit more responsibility, and that usually makes them focus up again.
Kind of like step by step, and then trying to reach the goal, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And how do you build trust and relationships with the athlete you coach?
For me, I usually like to find some common ground with the athlete. Like I have to understand that all these kids have school and maybe other extracurriculars. Their whole lives don't revolve around swimming. So usually, like finding something that we both like outside of swimming helps us build a connection between myself and the swimmers. Like maybe it can be like sports, like soccer, basketball, hockey, something like that. Or if maybe it will be like a school topic, like math or history or gym, something that they do and that they enjoy outside of swimming that I can talk to them about. That usually helps build a connection and a sense of trust, because then they understand that like, yes, I am your swim coach, but I can still like talk to you about like your everyday life.
Kind of like care each other, like yeah, caring each others, and like kind of building some connective, right?
Yeah.
So sorry are there have any leadership lesson you learned from your own coach that you now apply?
Um, from my own coach.
Uh, yep.
Um, Something I've learned is to be fun with the swimmers. Don't always be strict with them or see them as like below you. Treat them as equals. Like talk to them as they're human beings, not as swimmers, not as people who don't understand what you want them to do. Sure, maybe they don't understand, but maybe you haven't explained it well enough. So I'll re-explain it. Like just be open-minded and always be communicating what you want from your swimmers, which I felt that like my coach always did pretty well. He's like, hey guys, like we're gonna do this set, and I want this, this, and this to be done, and I want us, so please do it. And like I'll be the exact same with my swimmers. I felt that went great with me, and for you especially, like you and I trained together as you mentioned. I felt it went really well when our coach would be like, okay, we're doing this set. I want to see breathing in and out of the walls, this amount of dolphin kicks, this amount of strokes, and I thought it went well. So I've tried to incorporate that also with my swimmers, and I'm like, hey guys, so this is what I want to see when you guys do this set of the practice.
Okay, of course. And what do you do create a positive and respectful environment as practice?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to have a more, always want to make the environment fun for the swimmers. Like if I want them to stay in the sport, they need to enjoy it. Like swimming is not, I'm not just teaching them to swim, I'm also trying to keep them in for the longevity of the sport. I understand that a lot of these kids have other extracurriculars, so it isn't just me competing against them liking the sport and having fun at the sport. It's also me competing against their other extracurriculars that I need that they enjoy swimming the most, so that they stick to swimming for the majority of their life. So I definitely try to make practices fun or enjoyable for the swimmers, but at the same time, I still want them to feel challenged and that they're improving. And every once in a while, have experience a little bit of discomfort, because that discomfort is what's gonna make them better swimmers. And when they go to races, they see that they are improving, and that will make them enjoy swimming as well.
Great. How do you give a feedback in a way that motivates rather than discourages?
For me, I like to get feedback in like bite-sized chunks. I'll be like, I should like two
Not
two
too
pros,
much.
one con. So like I'll go like, hey, I liked your kicks off the wall, and I liked that you didn't breathe the last 5 meters, but I noticed that on your freestyle stroke, you're pulling underneath your body, which we don't want to do that because that's wasting energy and time when you're pulling. You want to pull beside the body. So like finding two good things they did in that set and then finding one bad thing they did usually helps like outweigh the negative and then have them focus and still having something to be proud of to go home and tell their parents like, hey, mom and dad, coach Daniel said that I did this and this well, but he said I can improve on this, so that's like a little challenge for them as well.
Kind of like explain more specific for the feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll be moving to the decision making and problem solving part. And how do you handle conflict or disagreements between the swimmers?
um for me, I like to usually like this first I'll have them separate. If I notice the conflict between my swimmers, I'll separate them, put them in different lanes, see if that like maybe it's like a one time thing. They're just like they're having an off thing. If it continues to happen, then we'll have them like hop out of the water and we'll discuss what is the problem. Try to find the root of the problem and try to like solve it between them. If after that it continues to happen, emails will be getting sent to their parents discussing the problem and having them try to talk to their kid to see if we can come up with if they can now stop since and if we continue to happen, we will be having one-on-one meetings in person with the parents, facing maybe even some disciplinary actions to the swimmers. But it rarely comes to that. Usually, like after the first step, they're done and they're going back to being friends and just all is good in the world.
Great. How do you handle conversation with parents who ask about their children's swimming progress? And have you ever had a situation where a parent was concerned or had a different expectation? And how do you navigate that?
For me, usually like I try to explain to the parents that swimming is not a linear sport. There are up and down curves while you do swimming. It's not always gonna be it's not always gonna be up, like improving. Sometimes you'll plateau and then you'll keep improving. But they're usually pretty understanding. A lot of them don't have that swimming background, so it can be a little bit harder to explain to them what what I mean. But to those parents that have a swimming background, they are more understanding and they try to help out, explaining to others how it works, which I am very appreciative of. But usually, like having demonstrations or sitting down with them and explaining to them how swimming works or showing them the progression that their kid has done throughout the season or their skill development usually is enough for them to like realize that like, oh, my kid is improving. Maybe it's something like the races they just get really nervous, but at practices they are getting better. Like there can be a lot of factors, especially with little kids, that maybe they can get too nervous or they didn't eat enough or didn't eat sleep enough. So like there's a lot of different things that could be why their results weren't as expected. But usually like I had to like if you explain to the parents and we come up with a plan to help them deal with those issues like the nerves, the eating, sleeping, being too cold at the pool. Usually, all those things can be resolved or talked about. So it's all about communication with everybody, in my opinion, and that helps a lot.
Yep, you're right. Cause like some like external factor or internal factors, like it might be effect to like like to the like to themselves.
Mhm.
And Okay, and how do you handle it? Like when a swimmer is not improving despite their efforts?
If a swimmer is not improving, we'll usually like try to take a video of the swimmer while they swim. Because if I know that the swimmer is putting good effort in practice and works hard in practice and always does every practice and focus on this on the skills and the what I expect from them, then I must know that it's something technical with their stroke. So at that point, maybe while they're doing that specific set in practice, I'll pull a swimmer off to the side and we'll do like more of a one-on-one technical focus practice with them, with me recording them and getting in the water, helping them figure out what could be the problem, why they're not improving in that stroke, or why they're having such a difficult time with a certain stroke. And then we'll like talk about it, and I'll show them the videos, and I'll like give them drills and feedback to help them improve that problem that they're facing, so that they can so that they can drop the next time to the race.
Okay, so you mean like kind of like give some like after give the feedback and then give some practice like tours like a drills and then like let them to do it and then like trying to improve.
Yes, correct.
And what is your approach when an athlete wants to quit or lose motivation?
Like I said earlier, like it's not just me competing against with the not it's not just me competing with the swimmers' interest in swimming. It's also me competing against other extracurriculars that they do outside of school. Especially nowadays, kids are doing so many extracurriculars they can be in. Music, other sports, arts, any literally anything. It can be hard. Like I totally understand if they're leaving because like they fell out of love with the sport. Like there's nothing I can do about it. But hey, best of luck to you in your other extracurricular. Um, if you ever decide to like try swimming again, please feel free to reach out and we'll see what we can do to get you back into the program. But if they're feeling unmotivated or dissatisfied with the sport, and they come up to me about it, it's like, hey, like I'm not doing too good. I really want to keep doing this. We'll talk about it. Like I like to have a meeting. I'll usually like talk to the swimmer one on one, just alone, just the two of us, about what is going on and see what could be an issue that they're dealing with. Is it because they're not feeling welcome in the group? Is it because the practices are too challenging and they don't keep up? Is it because the results are not what they expected at swim meets? So there's can be a lot of reasons, and we'll try to figure out what it could be. If it's not because they want to try another sport, and if it's one of those other reasons, we'll try to come up with a plan to keep them happy and to keep them in the sport. Maybe like we'll be like, hey, like maybe don't when you don't have to make all the pace times. Just try to hold on. Try to do as many repetitions of the set as you can. Something simple. Like we'll start off something small, and then start taking bigger bites out of the practice. Like there can always be a solution to what they're dealing with.
And can you describe a time when a swimmer was not follow instruction and how do you respond?
Sometimes like they're still like little kids or like a little bit older and they get distracted. They'll start like bobbing around in the water, like playing with their friends or splashing. And usually like I'll usually like if that happens, I'll like stop, be quiet, look at them, and they'll usually like pick up on that everybody's looking at them at that point, so they'll look at me and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like keep going." Like I'm like, "Okay, you had your fun. Now listen, because you need to know what practice is." Like usually, like if you treat them with respect and open communication, they'll usually listen pretty well and they'll like follow your initiative. Like, most of these kids, they know how I want my practices to run, and when they see me on, like it's like okay, they know that it's like okay, like he does not miss, like he needs us to be focused. Like hey, guys, you only come here for an hour of your day, an hour and a half of swimming practice, like, and then you have the whole rest of your day to have fun. So let's just try to focus for this one little bit, and then we can enjoy the rest of the day. Okay? And they usually listen pretty well to that, and they focus, and then we get through practice running smoothly.
Okay. And have you ever asked another coach or mentor for advice on a decision? What was that like?
Yeah, when I first started coaching, I would ask definitely a lot of the older coaches what they thought about a problem. Like if one of my swimmers wasn't able to do a certain skill, or they were lacking um, in a certain capacity, or they were falling behind compared to the other swimmers, I would go up to like older coaches and be like, hey, like, do you know what could be happening here, or could you recommend a drill that I could do with this swimmer to have them improve this skill because they're falling behind. And we usually like they usually are pretty helpful, and they would help me come up with ideas and techniques to have that swimmer feel motivated, or have that swimmer improve on that certain area where they're lacking. So I feel like, and even like not even like coaches in our own clubs, like I've talked to coaches in other clubs, and they have given me ideas that I can use for my swimmers, which I found very helpful. And now that I'm like, getting a little bit older as well, and I'm like, and some of the younger coaches are coming to me for advice, I have done the exact same thing with giving them like tips and feedback to like have them improve their own coaching.
Great. Yeah, because like sometimes like when you don't like you don't have any idea to like how about like how to coaching the kids or something like that. Yeah, it's a good way to asking somebody for help. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's good not to be stubborn, and to always have an open mind, because you never know where you're gonna receive advice or help from.
Yes. Okay. Last part, I'll ask about growth and reflection, and how was coaching changed the way you see yourself, both personally or professionally.
Um, in my opinion, like I feel like coaching is a very fulfilling job. At least for me, it is. I find it that it's a pretty good service to the community, because not a lot of I don't know about in Edmonton, but in Vancouver especially, like there's a lack of pools, so a lot of families are like resorting to joining private clubs to receive swimming lessons for their kids instead of going to the cities. So I found that it's like been pretty good, and I feel like I'm doing a service to the community, teaching these kids how to be in a competitive swim club, especially since my group is the very first competitive swim club coming out of our teaching school. So I'm happy with that, and I feel like I've grown as a person because it has taught me to be mature, handle situations, a little bit more delicate situations, talk with like parents and superiors, have like more responsibility than most kids my age usually have. Like most of my friends who are in university are like working in fast food, or being servers, or doing other types of like minimum wage jobs, while I'm doing something a little bit more beneficial and that looks a little bit better on my resume, which I feel like is setting me up a little bit better for future opportunities, which I'm very grateful of. Like honestly, like I love my job. I feel very happy when I do it, and I wouldn't change anything about it. It has made me become a much better swimmer, a much better person, and it has taught me to how deal with all age groups. I've worked with kids 5 and under, 5 to 10, even teenagers, a little bit older. Now we're talking swimmers who are now 15 to 18, even varsity level. I've worked with even varsity level swimmers, helping national level coaches coach. I've even done master swimming, which is now like more adult swimming that they're ranging anywhere from the ages of 30 to 60. I've coached at every level, and I feel like having coached all those different age groups has been very important for me, because it helps me also build my connections, because you never, like I said, you never know where you're gonna end up. So like having those good relationships with all these different groups of people and their and their peers and their parents and my supervisors and national level coaches, you never know where you're gonna receive help from or who you're gonna meet along the road. So it's been pretty nice, I feel like.
Okay, great. And what qualities do you think make a great coach, and how do you work on developing them?
In my opinion, some good qualities that every coach should have is confidence. Like if you're like shy and quiet and speak like you're always doubting yourself, the kids are gonna pick up on that. And if the kids pick up on that, your superiors and the head coaches and parents are gonna also notice that you're like a little bit more reserved and quiet, which is never a good thing. I feel like you have to be a little bit more loud, especially because like it isn't just you in the pool. There's gonna be other groups swimming. Maybe there's public swimming happening at the same time, or there is different sports like diving, water polo, synchro happening, which means you have to be a little bit louder so that your swimmers can hear you. Obviously, you don't want to be shouting. Just be a loud person. Open-minded. Like I said, you never know where you're gonna receive feedback and advice from, or anything like that. Like always be open-minded to suggestions and all that stuff. Don't be stubborn, and being a general kind person. Like you have to treat others with respect, not just the swimmers, but the parents and the coaches, because it's all about being a leader and being somebody that people can look up to. And if people feel that you're being disrespectful or lack empathy or anything just that doesn't fit well to be a role model, like you will not get given opportunities to move up, in my opinion.
Kind of like more confidence, like to coaching some people.
Yeah, obviously.
And okay, what do you do when leadership strategy you try does not work the way you expect?
Uh, when my leadership,
Kind of like something like you did something like, and then you expect like maybe it should be like that, but but like when the results come out, like kind of like it's not what like kind of like it's not what you think about that things.
um, usually like I don't know. I feel like I've never had to experience this. I usually plan my practices or plan my interactions if I know that I'm going to have certain interactions with certain people. I try to plan them and try to like figure out how they could play out. So like for my practices, especially when I'm coaching, I'm like, okay, we're gonna work on this, this, and this, so that when we do our races, I can see this type of skills in the races to help them become better swimmers. Or if I know I'm gonna have a meeting with like the other coaches, I'm like, okay, what do I need to bring up? What do I need to discuss? What are we gonna discuss? What could we possibly discuss in this meeting? Or with parents, it's like, okay, the meeting is about this. I need to have this information available. And yeah, I think like just being always prepared is something really important to be as a leader, because and being flexible. You never maybe something unexpected will happen, so you have to be ready to change the practice or change something on the spot.
Like kind of like try something new, like maybe like so when that thing is not working, so you are going to try something new, right?
Yeah, if that thing is not working, then change it immediately, change it on the spot, try something new. Don't be afraid to experiment with drills and techniques.
Great. And so what kind of impact do you hope to leave on the athlete you coach?
I hope to leave obviously a positive impact. I feel like if I leave them a good impression of swimming, because for most of them, I am their very first competitive coach. So if I leave them a good impact, I feel like they're gonna have more a better longevity in the sport, which is obviously what I want. since this is my sport, I love this sport. I've loved it for a long time, and I hope to share my love for the sport with everybody else that I've coached.
Yes. And where do you see your leadership skills taking you in the future?
I mean, I hope my leadership skills take me to keep moving up the groups, eventually coaching a provincial level group, and maybe down the road, I would love to coach. I would have the opportunity to coach at a national level. That is something I am definitely interested in. I love coaching. I would definitely love to do it. And I love the thing about coaching that I love is also that I can have like my day job, my 9 to 5 job, and then also have coaching as my little hobby job, which I enjoy, which I am definitely planning on doing if I pursue uh if I pursue teaching post for my for my degree. So I don't know. I just love it, and I hope that I stick with it for a long time.
Okay, great. And if okay, what if someone saw you in action as a coach? What leadership traits would they notice?
For me, confidence. I'm loud on deck. I am very loud on deck, and constant feedback. I feel like, especially swimmers that younger swimmers need a lot of feedback because they can change so much. Their body's always changing. Their mindset's always changing. Everything about them is changing from week to week. So you always have to be giving feedback on their technical aspects, their mental preparation, everything. Just always giving feedback to younger swimmers. Once you get to a little bit older age groups, you can start relaxing a little bit more on the feedback, on the technical feedback. But then you have to be more aware of what the swimmers need. Like not every swimmer is gonna be the exact same. They might have different needs to help them reach their full potential. So keeping that in mind when you're writing your practices.
Okay. And what if you could give one piece of leadership advice to a new coach? What would it be?
Be confident. Be confident and take and be open to feedback. Be open minded. That's all I